G'day everyone, I'm David Reidy and welcome to Piano Finally, a podcast by an old bloke who's getting around to learning the piano. Finally. Welcome to episode 4. I'd like to start out by thanking everyone who's been listening to the podcast. The feedback I have received has been encouraging, so thank you to everyone who has let me know. Over the past week, I've had 2 piano lessons, but I haven't done a lot of practicing this week. We've had the elimination rounds for the debating competition, which has meant 3 late nights, though we've been successful and our senior team has made it through to the quarterfinals next week. Holidays are coming up soon though, so I'll be able to put in some extra time. During the past week, the school held its Creative and Performing Arts Showcase. There were some great artworks on show, some interesting drama productions, and of course, plenty of music. One of the highlights for me was one of my Year 8 students performing her original composition on the piano. I still have a long way to go to match her skills. For those not familiar with New South Wales school system, Year 8 students are typically 13 or 14. This week's review is of the metronome I've been using for my practice. We'll leave the discussion of the pros and cons of metronomes for another time, but needless to say, a metronome is a common accessory when practicing any instrument. There are many different types of metronomes available, from mechanical ones to electronic ones, and ones that run on a mobile phone. Most digital pianos and keyboards also have one built in, often with many options, including using a drum track rather than a click. I played around with a few, starting with the mechanical one I reviewed in episode 1, and with some of the many free applications available on the iPhone. There are many on the Android devices as well. I decided that I wanted a physical metronome because I try to leave my iPhone out of sight while practicing to reduce distractions. And importantly, it needed to have a really easy way of adjusting the speed. As a beginner, the one thing that is consistent with my playing is that it is slow. But I want to be able to increase the speed gradually until I get up to the speed as written. Being able to increase the tempo by a couple of beats per minute means I can match my current ability and then add just a little more pressure to the practice. The metronome I picked is the Boss DB90 metronome. I bought it from a local music store, but I'll put an Amazon affiliate link in the show notes. The metronome is a grey plastic box with a fold-out kickstand, but I have mine clamped to the table leg next to the piano using a camera clamp. This makes it easily accessible, and as it's out of my line of sight, it's not distracting. If you do want a visual guide though, it has a large backlit LCD display with a moving indicator that replicates the moving part of a mechanical metronome. The device has many options. I only use a few of them at the moment, but they're very simple to use. You can set the number of beats in a bar and then use the large yellow dial to set the crotchet, quarter note, tempo. There is a master volume control for the whole unit and a separate slider for the accent beat. There is also a choice of sounds for the beats, including drums, and a voice counting the numbers. Additional volume sliders let you add in sounds for quavers and semiquavers, 8th and 16th notes, as well as for triplets. The DB90 also has lots of different connection ports, allowing it to be used in more complex situations than just practicing the piano. The unit can be powered using a 9-volt battery, though I bought the optional power pack so I can leave it plugged in. One thing to be careful about with the power pack is that it needs to be a low noise power supply. The first one I tried was a generic one that I had around the house, but it introduced a 50 Hz buzz to the sound. Replacing it with the recommended Boss power supply removed the buzz completely. I'm very happy with the metronome. I use it regularly because it's so easy to set up, and I think it'll last me for many years. Why to start? I said right back in the first episode of the podcast that I had, for a long time, wanted to learn to play the piano, but I really hadn't thought through why. It was just this vague feeling that it would be a nice thing to know. But is it being a nice thing to know enough justification for spending a fair bit of money and hundreds of hours? I suppose it depends on the underlying reason. There are many different reasons an adult might decide to learn the piano. Firstly, there are apparently health benefits, especially for older people. Playing the piano means a fair bit of coordinated movement. It's not strenuous, but it's controlled and precise in the same way that yoga or Tai Chi is. And it has the advantage of being seated for those for whom balance may be a concern. There are many who will say that playing an instrument has cognitive benefits. It gives both your short-term and long-term memory a workout. It makes new neural connections as you use muscles in a different way from the way you have previously, and it keeps your brain busy translating notes on the page into finger movements. I hesitate to say that learning a complex skill such as piano playing will help to stave off the onset of dementia, as much as the literature is, at best, anecdotal, but it's certainly unlikely to hurt. These aren't the reasons I decided to start, good though they are. As I still work full-time, I get plenty of moving about in my day, and working in rooms full of teenagers is more than enough to keep my brain active. So it took me a while to work out why. Have you ever been somewhere where there just happens to be an idle piano sitting in the room when someone goes over and starts playing it? I've seen it happen during many school camps. A student will start playing, and pretty soon everyone is enjoying the music. It raises the mood, and everyone starts feeling a little bit happier. That's what I want to be able to do. Music is made for sharing, and sharing is good. I suppose there might be some people who learn simply for the technical challenge of mastering a difficult skill. Still, I'm betting that most people think about how rewarding it will be to play for family and friends, or even for complete strangers, playing just for the joy of sharing some music. Being able to do something harmless, but which causes people to feel good, is a wonderful skill and what makes all the money and effort worthwhile. There are many YouTube videos in which a person or a group performs music in a public place somewhat unexpectedly and draws a crowd of appreciative onlookers. Some of these appear to be staged, but the happiness of the crowd appears to be genuine. Many councils and businesses put pianos in public places so spontaneous happiness can happen. And learning the piano lets you be an agent of that happiness. If you do want to give unexpected piano playing a try, the website pianos.pub lists public pianos all around the world. A search for public pianos near me is also a good way to start. I'm still a long way from being able to bring strangers happiness with my piano playing, but it's what I'm aiming for. There are 2 very nice grand pianos in shopping centres in Sydney, and one day I'll give them a try. This week's YouTube suggestion is a perfect example of when too much piano is never enough. Over the past week, the 2024 Gina Backhour International Piano Competition has been taking place in Salt Lake City. The quarterfinals have just finished, and the semi-finals and finals will take place in the coming week. It's getting fairly easy to find competition piano performances on YouTube, but often they are just the winners of those competitions. The difference with the Backhour competition is that every performance from the quarterfinals onwards has been recorded and live streamed to YouTube. I started watching the first live stream and realised that it was going to be over 9 hours long, so it's a comprehensive record of the competition. Luckily, the organisers have also posted the individual performances as individual videos, so it's now much easier to watch a performance in one sitting. Each piano player has played 2 40-minute concerts for the quarterfinals, with the 12 semi-finalists going on to 60-minute concerts and the 3 finalists performing with the Utah Symphony Orchestra in the 2 final concerts. Of course, the piano playing is phenomenal, and the range of pieces performed is wide and varied. Importantly, the production quality of the recordings is excellent. Both the video and the sound quality are great. They're not amazingly artistic, but they're fine for watching the artist and their technique. If you want tens of hours of video content of high-quality piano playing, this collection is for you. One of the things that makes this set of recordings extra special is that a piano-playing YouTuber called Ben Lordy has made a video called I Asked 11 Pianists How They Prepare for an International Competition. And it is this competition that they're preparing for. That video is a great insight into the preparation for really high-end performance, but it also gives you an insight into the young men and women who are competing. It's also a great way to decide who you're going to be barracking for in the competition. I'll put the links to the competition and to Ben's video in the show notes. Well, that's it for this week. If you'd like to get in contact with me, email is the best way. You'll find me at david@pianofinally.show and the website at www.pianofinally.show. In both cases, Piano Finally is all one word. The show is also on Facebook, Instagram, and in Threads as Piano Finally. The show notes for this episode are on the website and include a text me link which will let you send me a message. So until the next episode, I hope your piano stays in tune and you enjoy your time at the keys. This week's practice recording is of some short pieces from Dennis Agay's book, The Joy of First Year Piano. The first one is Old World Melody and the second one is Spring Morning.